and welcome to our crafting session this evening. Thank you for joining us. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. I was on the phone and I just needed to complete that phone call, so thank you for bearing with me and joining us. If you're joining us live, do say hi. It's always lovely to know who is here with us. And if you're watching on catch up or replay, then don't hesitate to pop any questions or comments in the comments section, either here on Facebook or on our YouTube channel under Jenny McCormack or Jemini Crafts. This week we have been using the Delicate Forest stamp set that you can see here, and we featured this at Coffee and Card on Tuesday, and this will feature at Coffee and Card in Brackley tomorrow, and that's Friday the 15th of March, and also in Toaster on Monday. That will be the let me see, 18th of March. Dear me, I'm not sure where this time is going. I thought I would share with you today a card that we made, I believe, back in January, which is one of my class in a box cards, and that features a card with a tear off bookmark, and I basically wanted to show you how you could create that. Now you will need a perforating tool of some kind. Many of you may have a paper cutter that has a perforated blade on it, either as a one that you can switch in and out or one that comes as part of it. We do have, for our pick me up tool, take your pick tool even, pick me up's even better, isn't it? We do actually have a blade that rotates and that does perforations for you. You can also use this for making a vintage style card. If you want to rough up the edges of a piece of card, you can run it through the edges on this blade, but we're going to use it for perforations to create a card that has a panel on the side that can be a bookmark. So that is my plan. Hi Caroline and hi Teresa. Just to show you some of the cards that we've made this week. So I think this was the one that I did on the live on Monday morning. This is the one that I created at Coffee and Card on Tuesday. And I stamped the trees and then the leaves floating away from it. I have stamped the leaves on the background, not that there's much space for you to see that on the video, that's for sure. Oh, it's Lexi. Hi Lexi. Thanks for joining us. And then this was one that I did yesterday. I wanted to see, because I happen to have in front of me two odd dies, and they are tiny little dies here, and I thought, oh, it would be quite nice to do some little blossoms on here. So I ran those two through the die cutting machine multiple times, as you can see, and then I've just layered up the bubble bath and the melon mambo flowers on there to make it look like blossoms. I could have done some white ones as well, but I was really pleased with how that came out. I put a few little embellishments in the middle of some of those little flowers, but if you had a small flower punch, that would work in exactly the same way. Okay, so let's just do the basic of the card and then we'll do the stamping to basically finish it off. So let me grab, let's see what colour card. I'm going to go for, I don't really know, is the answer. Let's go for Berry Burst. sits here, which is this one here. And what I'm going to do is basically cut what would be a card, so here, like that, but I'm going to add a panel onto the side, and I'm going to score here, and then run the edge of this perforating tool straight down that line there, so that the last panel can be torn off if you want it to. So it does take the whole of a card to do this, because obviously if you do it that way you've got nothing left to work on. So that is the downside, but I think it makes a really nice gift. It would be a nice Easter gift if you had a panel on there with an Easter message or an Easter sentiment. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this to size. Now the only reason I'm using coloured cards is so that when you've got the bookmark elements that you've cut off, if you then tear it off, it's just a little bit more interesting to have coloured card rather than the white. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this to what would be our normal height of a card, which is 14.85. Now you can make this any size you wish, obviously, to fit an envelope. So all I'm going to do is score this at 10.5, which would be the normal size of a card that you would score. Let me bring this out. Hi Nicole, and good evening to you. We're then going to score that at 21, which would normally be where you would cut, or that is actually the normal width of a card. And then I'm just going to decide how big I want my bookmark element to be. Now you can really vary that as you wish. I've just got my instructions from when I did it, and I did it at 26.85. Not sure I need to be quite as precise as that, so I'm going to do it to 27 and cut that element there. So this will give us a card that we're going to fold like so, and this piece here you can either fold in like so, or you could fold round the back. It's entirely up to you. And then what I'm going to do is, you could use, if you've got just a ruler and say a foam mat or something like that. You don't want to do this on your best table, that is for sure. If you've got a cutting mat, a glass mat or anything like that, it would work. If there's tiny bits from those flowers, look. And so what I'm going to do is take my perforating tool, and this just slots on a take your pick tool. So it has a screw fit here, and you can just swap it out from the other tips as well, and then it has got a guard on it, so when that guard is up, that edge is protected. Hopefully you can see that. And if I move that away, that edge then is open to the elements. And then you can just take a ruler. As I say, if you've got a perforating blade on your paper trimmer, whether it's a rotary one or anything, then you can just swap that out. And then what I'm going to do now is just run this, actually it's no good having up there, is it? Because it'll get in the way. So I'm going to run this along that edge so that you perforate it. And you don't want to go mad and do it too hard or you'll cut through it. But that's just got, I can see it's got little perforations. I'm not sure that you can see that from where you are. Now if you haven't got a perforating tool, what you could do is use, for example, a craft knife with a blade, oops, or this is a Stanley knife. This is a bit overkill really. So Lexi, you don't want to be doing this without any supervision, but you could just do some little lines along that score line. Again, you want a ruler to hold that nice and straight, otherwise you end up sort of disappearing around. And I do find it better to have scored it first because it's easier to see where that line is. I guess you could do a pencil line, but that way that enables you then to be able to tear it off. Now you could leave it attached, of course you don't have to score it or perforate it, but it's a really good use for this perforating tool. Okay, so that's going to be our card, like so. So what we're going to do is decorate the front. You could decorate both of these panels if you wish, and then both sides of the bookmark. Now if you have a hole punch, you could punch out this centerpiece here ready to put a ribbon through. Just looking to see if I've got my hole punch with me, which I have. So just going to put this just a little way down. And the reason that I'm doing that hole punch now is that if you add on a layer of card and on a piece of paper on both sides, my hole punch wouldn't be able to punch through 4 layers. But what I can do is put one layer on and then see where the hole is, either mark it and then punch it, or attach it and then punch it one layer at a time. So I'll show you that. So let's just have some layers for this. Now obviously you could add multiple layers if you want to make it really thick. I'm just going to take some standard pieces of card and stamp my trees on there. And oops, daisy. And obviously you could use die cuts, you could use anything to decorate this with. So I'm going to make this, I think I'm going to make this 9.5 centimetres, like so. So it's a full centimetre smaller than the base. We've got 1 and 2. Oh, cat's running around like nothing on earth. There's that one. And so I've got 3. So I've got 1 for the outside, the 2 insides, and then I'm going to have 1 for the bookmark element. Let me just measure that. I'll put that ruler down somewhere. There it is. So that measures 6 centimetres, give or take. So I'll make this 5 centimetres. Not quite got enough for both, never mind. And I know that the height is going to be 13.85, like so. Okay, let's have a look and you can see how this is going to come together. So So this is going to be the front of my card, like so. And then I've got a panel that's going to go on the inside. That's optional, of course. And then I've got another panel here, and then this panel is going to go and be my bookmark, which is going to be able to tear off from here. Okay, so I am going to stamp on this, and I'm going to leave the back of the bookmark plain, but you could add another one on the back with your sentiment if you wish. Okay, so let's just quickly stamp up those. Now you could easily just use designer paper if you wanted to. You don't have to stamp all of those elements, but obviously I've got the stamp set that we're using here, so I'll just whip through and stamp those. Hi Barbara, thank you for joining us. Let's just grab this one here. Sorry, just a piece of scrap paper underneath. So let me see what I might do. No, just the speed. I'm going to stamp one on each one, and then I can decorate those later. So let's put this one on the left, and I've got it going off the bottom of our piece of card here. Not that it's very straight. Okay, we're going to have this one in the middle, so what I might do is move this further over. So you could change the colours as well. Good evening, Trudy. I'm going to put that one in the middle, and then this one here is going to go on the right hand side, so that you've got space for your sentiment. You could of course leave one of these blank if you wanted to. Like so. And then I've got, just get the right one, this piece which is our bookmark. Just ink that up again. Now, as I said, you could do this with anything. This would make a cute Easter card. If you've got the Easter bunny, you could put a little bunny rabbit or something, or a different one on each element. Or, as I said, you could use designer paper. Entirely up to you. Oops. Entirely up to you. Okay, let me move that one out of the way. So I've got 4 panels. So this one can go here. This one in the middle. You could definitely do this as a seasonal card. And then this one is going to be the bookmark element, like so. So what I'm going to do when I come to this one is I'm going to adhere it down, and then when it's in place I will use my hole punch and punch hole through the hole that I've already created here, as I explained, rather than do X amount of layers for each one. So let me see, I want to do it fairly speedily, otherwise you'll be here all evening. So let's do a little bit of sky, and maybe I could have a different sentiment on each one. Maybe, let's have a look, see. Yes, so I could put stay strong my friend, and then hoping each passing day lets in a little sunshine. I could add a sun onto that, and then sending our love. I think that would work. But I'm going to keep the basics fairly straightforward. Just going to grab an ink. Apologies for the delay. I've just got to get it from my coffee and card box. That's what I'm looking for, is some blending brushes. So I'm going to do some blue sky, and then I'm going to do a sun on one of those. And I've just spaced them left to right, but really you could do anything with that. I suspect there might be enough blue on here, maybe not. Oh, wrong colour. Right. Army blue is my go-to sky colour. Move this out of the way. So I'm just going to do one at a time, but I will do them fairly swiftly. So I hope everybody is well. Of course it's Friday. If you're watching live, it's Friday for us tomorrow, and then another weekend soon comes round. And there's a lot of Stampin' Up demonstrators around the world at the moment on the Stampin' Up convention, and our local one is in Rotterdam for Europe, and then there's a number in America and obviously also Australia, but in Europe we all get together, and that is in, as I say, Rotterdam. I'm not going this time round. I shall miss it, especially all the fun and excitement because we get to see the new catalogue. But that's the way it goes. I have a new doll to look after. Okay, so that's going to be the left hand side, and then this one I think is going to be my sun one. Hoping each passing day lets in a little more sunshine. So what I'm going to do is use a yellow brush and some yellow ink. This is Lemon Lolly. Let's just see. Okay, it's got a little hint of orange in it, which is perfect. And I usually have Post-it note that I can punch out a hole to make the sun. So what I want to do is create a hole that I can ink through to get the sun, and then add more shading around it. So here's a post-it note that will give me a bit of something to hold on to. And I'm just going to stick it onto a spare piece of card, because if you try and punch this out, this is too thin for the punch, and it will just get stuck in the punch. Sorry. Let's grab a different punch. one will do 1 1/4 inches, 1 inch, anything like that. If you've got a die cutting machine, you could die cut a hole. So there is our circle. So what I'm going to do is put this here like that, and then just being careful not to get too close to those edges with my deeper colour. Okay, so there is my sun. Seems to have got a lot of shadows this evening, sorry about that. So I just peel that away. You can see, actually that would probably do. I was going to go and get a darker colour, but I think that will do perfectly. And then you can just use what's left on here to a little bit of yellowy orangey sky. And you can always go back, put your post-it note back on here if you need to. So let's just add a little bit more. And I'm just doing this fairly quickly because really what I wanted to show you was the bookmark element of it. But that will, I'm happy with that, that will do. It always looks so pale on the video on my screen, but in real life it's always darker. Okay, so that's going to be my second panel. Hopefully you can see a little bit of that yellow on there. So I've got this one here, and then this one, and then this is our third panel. So I think what I'm going to do is just maybe a little bit of a pink sky. Let's see what I did with my brushes. Because they're just here somewhere. Okay, I know they're here. Oh dear. Right, we'll go for blue, and if I find my pink one I'll add a little bit of pink to it. Sorry everybody. Now when you're using blending brushes after you've stamped an image, you want to make sure that that image is nice and dry. Otherwise what it can do is make that image run slightly. So if I was doing a whole scene of these, I would do all the background scenes first, all the blending, and then stamp my tree on top. But as I stamped this a little while ago, and I know that it's mostly dry anyway, and I'm not going right over the tree, I think I'll be alright. Okay, so when I find my pink brush, I'm going to add a little bit of pink to that, and I'm just going to stamp some ground in there as well. So I've got this really useful ground stamp here, and we've got these little saplings as well as the leaves and these lovely bushes here. So let's ground these. Could add those little bits as well, we'll see. make sure that's fairly straight on there. I've got grey granite here which I'll use, and I might stamp it off. I'll have a look and see how dark it is. And you could obviously change this. You could have, oh, it's very pale anyway. You could have, you know, one with green, one with brown, one with yellow. So just watch that top bit. There we go. This one. And then finally this little one here. I suspect it'll go right the way across, which it does. Okay. Let's just add. Oh, I've just seen my brushes right next to me where they should be. Okay, this has got some pink in it, that's perfect. Let's move these out of the way. So I'm just going to bring in just a little element of this pink. Like so. Look at that. And again, not sure how much of that you can see because it looks so washed out on my screen, but hopefully you'll see a little bit of that on there. Okay, so that's my third, and then this is the last panel. So I think what I'm going to do is brush across this with the pink, like so. Because I have got the pink card that I'm using. Sorry if it's making your eyes go funny. Look away if you need to. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's stamp the sentiments on each one. Let's move those out of the way. Okay, so that's our last one. 3. Okay, so this is the first one. So this is going to say, "Stay strong, my friend, you'll get through this," which I've already got out. And I think I might stamp it in the pink if I've got it to hand. So I've used Berry Burst. Let's just see if that's here. Well, I've got Melon Mambo, which I think will do. Be close enough. Okay, so moving these out of the way. So this is our first panel. Okay, that works perfectly. Okay, so stay strong, my friend, you'll get through this. And then we've got this one here, which is going to be hoping each passing day lets in a little more sunshine, and I'm going to do that in espresso to match that. So let's just take that one off. Like so. And find my espresso ink pad. There it is. Okay. Not quite sure where this is going to fit. Be quite nice across that, but I haven't left enough space. There it goes. That's our second panel, and then this is our third panel, which I could stamp in the pink, and that's going to say sending our love. Let's put those on top for the minute. Like so. Stick with that pink again. Like so. And then we've got our little tree here, which I'm going to stamp those little pieces on the bottom. Let's grab a small block, and I might just do that in espresso. Like so. Do that there and there. Okay. Right, let's put some of this together then. So here's our base card. This is our bookmark element, remember. So this is going to go on the front, and obviously I can step this up and add more detail, but it will suffice to give you the general layout and idea of a bookmark card. So I've got a slightly bigger margin than normal, so there's that one. Then I've got our sunshine one, and we did this actually in January for our class in a box using the perennial lavender papers. Okay, and then we've got this one here, sending our love, and on this one is where I would put my message. But you could also put it on the back of the card if you wanted to. So there's that one there. Okay. And then this is going to go onto there. And you want to just be careful not to put too much glue over this top end. So what I'm going to do is glue down the sides. Okay, and I'm going to position it over the hole and then punch through the hole itself. So, and then I'm going to look through that gap, feel with the hole punch where that gap is, and then you're basically only punching one layer of card at a time. Whereas if I'd stuck it all down and tried to push it down, it would very easily might have just not gone through. So now I can add some ribbon to this, and what you could do is put on the card itself, "Enjoy this tear off bookmark," or you can put it on a slip of paper. I'm just going to find hopefully some pink ribbon, which I've got here. And bear in mind, if you want this to go in an envelope, you don't want to go too mad with too many layers of ribbon. But if you were hand gifting this, I'm going to do this double, I think. So what I like to do is I've got two separate pieces approximately the same length. These could be different pieces if you wanted to, you know, like a pink and a white, for example. Pull those through to the top like that, and then instead of tying a knot which gives the bulk, just use some either baker's twine. This is some silver thread that I've got, and then wrap it round and then tie that little piece into a tight knot to hold that other ribbon in place. You could tie that into a bow if you wanted to. That little silver piece, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Snip that off, and then just snip these ends to make them look a little bit more interesting. And also by angling them, you stop it fraying if it's a particular ribbon that likes to fray. There's this one here, like so. Okay, so there's our card with the tear off bookmarks. You can, hopefully you can just see, no you can't see that, I can see that. So that will fold in together, that can just flop round, and you can tuck it into a card. If you wanted to, you could add another panel, as I suggested, on the back. I know this is the one I had was the wrong width, just a little bit too narrow. No idea what I've done with. No idea. But you could put another panel on here, or you could just put some patterned paper, or you could write a little thoughtful message on the back, either straight onto the pink or onto a piece of white card if you prefer. Okay, let me just see if there's any other questions. Let's have a look. Oh, there's a message from Salodine to Nicole. Hopefully you've seen that. Do I use my blue brush for all blues? I do indeed. If I need a really light blue, Trudy, then I will just take off some of that blue onto a scrap until it's got to roughly the shade that I want, and then use that on my element here, like so. Okay, and I can go back and add in bits and pieces, but really what I wanted to show you was the this element here. So the measurements, if anybody wants them, is it's 14.85 centimeters high. This is a standard English European A4 piece of card, but it's cut the other way out of the A4 piece. So there's that element there. So 14.85, and then this is 10.5, 21, and then I cut this at 27. so that this piece is 6 centimeters long. Each of these is 10.5, and then the layers that I put on measure 9.5 by 13.85. As I said, you could put a little note on, say, please enjoy your tear off bookmark. If you didn't want to put it on there, you could just do a separate bookmark, cut it 7 centimeters by 14.85, decorate it accordingly, and then just tuck it inside if you wanted to. And you could do that if you don't have a perforating tool or a craft knife with a ruler, which is the other way of doing it. Just do short little dashes of lines if you like. If you've got a rotary blade on your paper trimmer, then that's perfect. Just don't press down too hard. And what I like to do, as I said earlier, is score it, and then you've got a groove for which you can use that element. Hi Annabelle, thank you for joining us. So there we are, that's our finished card. Obviously the front is fairly plain, but I've been using that stamp set all week, so this would be lovely on the inside. Add all the flowers if you wanted to. You could also add in the leaves on any one of those, and I also think this would be nice to show the seasons of the tree. So you could have spring with some blossom and things on. You could have summer all in green. You could have autumn with autumn colours with reds and oranges, and then you could have just that plain tree in winter. And if you haven't got this set, Delicate Forest, you probably have other trees that you could use. So Lovely as a Tree, or I'm desperately trying to think of the other one, Seasonal Branches maybe, anything like that. But they don't have to be tree scenes. As I said, you could easily do an Easter card. That would be fun. Obviously we've had Mother's Day, but you could do anything similar to that. Just change up what you want, or just do it with designer paper. You don't have to do any stamping. If you've got designer paper that would coordinate with some card, then that would be perfect. You could do that as well. Just going to see if I've got my perennial lavender set to hand. Just to show you that one. I have indeed. So this was one that I did for our January class in a box, and if you're not familiar with that, that is a box delivered to your door here in the UK with all the components that you need. There aren't any stamps for sentiments, but you could leave it blank or add your own sentiments. And this is how this one works. So this is just decorated on the front. Hi Jodie, thanks for joining us. Just a plain layer on the inside, and then this one is perforated here, and I haven't added the hole punch on there. I mean, obviously you could just use that as a card. It doesn't have to be a separated bookmark. You could just have it as a pretty card, going either which way, any which way. You could even fold it backwards if you wanted to, but I like it as a tear-off bookmark. So that's another variation, but all the sizes I will pop in the comment section, both here and on YouTube. So I hope you like it. Hope it does the job for you. And if you do give it a go, do share photographs of what you've created on my Jemini Crafts page, or you can email it to me if you prefer, and let me know if you're happy for me to share with others. That's one thing we like to do, is share our designs and our thoughts, and it gives inspiration to other people as well. Let me just see if I've got any other samples of that. No. No, I thought I might have, but I think I've sent all my other samples out. But it makes a great bookmark card for anybody who you know enjoys reading books or magazines. So there we are. So thank you so much for joining me this evening. This is still the 14th of March 2024. If you're watching on replay and you have any queries or questions, don't hesitate to message me and let me know, and I'll see what I can do to help you. And I do hope you have a great weekend. I won't be online tomorrow, but if you have any comments, pop those through, and I do monitor them. Occasionally they slip through the net, especially on Facebook. It's a bit of a nightmare tracking messages via Facebook when it's on a page. I don't know why it's so difficult, but it is. So if ever you've commented or messaged me and you haven't received a message back, don't hesitate to comment again or email or message me directly. So thank you so much. Have a great evening, depending on where you are and when you're watching, and I look forward to crafting with you again soon. I will be back here on Monday, and that will be 18th of March, and it'll be our new stamp set of the week, and I look forward to sharing that with you then. Remember, if you purchase my stamp set of the week that I'm doing it, I send you the components for the cards that I make live. So anybody ordering a delicate forest from me will receive the components for this card. I might change the colours up, but you'll get the card cut and scored, and the panels and some ribbon ready to put together. So thank you so much everyone. Do take care. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.